Hello and welcome to the National Leadership Briefing. My name is Doug Sharp and I will be your host for today. It is Friday, April the 3rd, and we are well on our way into the year, and what a year it's been so far. There is so much going on right now. I am sure that you have a lot of things coming at you, but that's why we make sure that we only spend 1 hour together, you and I, covering only the most important things. So your decision to be here today, I applaud you on that. I know you're busy. I respect your time. We're going to be in and out in 1 hour. And on that note, let's start there because this is really important. If you are watching this video because you've registered to receive the post notes following the briefing, remember that the way I talk, the way I actually speak, the method and the manner with which I speak, you can actually speed me up using the playback speed. You can adjust me to 1.5, even 2 times the speed. So you can take 1 hour briefing and you can compress it into as few a minutes as 30 minutes. And you're going to find that you're going to actually be able to follow what I'm saying. I try to articulate, I try to speak clearly enough so that that works for people. I know I watch a lot of YouTube videos, playback speed, double time, just because I cover a lot of material, but just feel free to do that. I'm not going to take any offense if you're watching me at 2 times speed. Try 1 1/4 speed first, just to make sure. Now, another thing is that if you're engaging with these videos on our YouTube channel, or if you're watching it after we send it out to you and we provide you the YouTube channel link, this is what we need to do every single time, is don't just passively watch the video. Make sure you engage with it. There are technologies, AI algorithms, all kinds of things coming at us, trying to suppress our message right now. They're trying to hold us back. And the way that we beat them is to engage. If we engage with the videos, if we comment on the videos, if we actually forward the videos or share the videos online, if you're watching a video that I produce on Facebook, share it, forward it out, comment on it below. Make sure you do everything you can. Hit the notification bell and make sure that you're always being notified another video comes out. Make sure that you're doing these kinds of things because AI algorithms are trying to send these messages into the grave. They are not trying to push them forward. We need to be conscious and aware of intentional about moving these videos forward, or else nobody's going to hear the message beyond you. Now, on that, send these out to your friends. Make sure that on your personal email lists, you actually, when I send you the post notes that come out, they come out by email, forward it by email to other people with a little note on top saying, hey, why don't you get on board? Why don't you jump on the National Leadership Briefing? We grow our influence because we grow our numbers. Every single time on every briefing, we're larger and we're more influential because there's more of us and because we're inviting people to join us. So don't forget to do that as well. Couple other things too that I want to make sure that you know about is that if you are not getting the post notes and you are watching this video today especially, because we are going to have so many links in the post notes. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, is that if you're registered for the National Leadership Briefing, which means you receive a link on the first Friday of every month that you could just click on and join this Zoom call, if you're not receiving the post notes after the briefing, that means you're not registered for the briefing. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is, of course, go and register at nlbcanada.ca. That's nlbcanada.ca, and make sure that you receive future links. But like I say, I bring this up today because today is such an important briefing, and we're going to be covering such important information that if you're watching this as just a video segment, or if you're watching this just somebody sent it to you and you're not registered, if you send me an email at president@familyaction.ca, I will send you today's post notes. I will respond to you with today's post notes. If you actually send me an email, though, you got to send me an email and just say, please reply with the post notes, and I will make sure I send them right back to you. And again, it's because there's no way that you can get them unless you're registered for the briefing. And if you go and register for the briefing, you're only going to get the post notes for the May briefing as opposed to getting them for today. So again, if you're watching me on YouTube, if you're watching me on Facebook, if you're seeing this somewhere, you're going to engage with the video. If you're not registered for the briefing, you're going to ask me for the post notes because again, when you see what we cover today, you're going to want all the easy links. You're going to want to be able to click on it, all that stuff. And I'm going to be referring to an awful lot of things, a large number of things that are on specific links. So the quick links are going to come in handy for you. Okay. All right. What else? What else do I need to tell you before we get rolling here today? Okay. Let's jump right into the agenda so you know what you're going to be missing if you don't send me an email and get the post notes. All right. First of all, I want to talk about the uncertainty that is out there right now. Now, the last time that we met, last month's briefing, I gave you three things, the three things that you're absolutely going to need on the road moving forward. And today I'm going to hold that up against some information about the uncertainty that's out there in the marketplace and in life generally. And so you can see why you're going to need these three things up against that uncertainty. We're going to start there. The second thing we're going to do is I'm going to tell you about the National Prayer Breakfast and the National Leadership Briefing, or National Leadership Dinner, pardon me, that was just held in Ottawa just this past month. I attended. I want to give you a bit of an update, and I'm going to invite you to join a delegation that we're putting together for next year. We're also going to be talking about the Young Christian Leaders Summit that took place at the exact same time. And I've got a plan for next year that you're going to want to hear about as well related to that event. The next thing I'm going to do is while I was in Ottawa, I had an opportunity to continue the work on the strategy that you and I are deploying to encourage the Conservative Party of Canada to present to us platform planks on the next federal election on issues that we care about. So I had an opportunity to meet with the leader of the party, and I want to share with you the information that I can about that meeting. And so you do not want to miss that, and because that was a very exciting meeting and very, very effective. And it's interesting the way it happened. And you're going to find that as I share this information with you, I'm going to be teaching you also about the best way to communicate with these fellas in Ottawa and these ladies in Ottawa that sometimes are kind of boxed. You know, they don't have a lot of flexibility in their roles sometimes. So you've got to make sure that when you meet with them, that you accommodate their predicament while at the same time working to advance the principles that you believe in. Like, for example, the principles that we always talk about with the 4 pillars. In a minute, you'll see more about that as well. All right, another thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be touching 2 rails that sometimes are considered the death rails in churches. Okay, and what do I mean by that? Like, you know how they always say, never talk about politics at the dinner table. Well, there's a couple of the subjects that are coming up in churches that people are kind of shying away from. And I say, whoa, wait a second. If someone's got an unanswered question about a subject that we need to, our responsibility is, if it's going to impair or impact negatively their perception of what's happening around them, or it's going to impair their ability to fully walk out God's call in their life, we need to answer the questions. That's what we, at the National Leadership Briefing here, we don't run from subject matter, we run at it to make sure, because an unanswered question can paralyze somebody from moving forward, or it can actually twist them into go down a wrong path. So we're going to touch briefly on 2 subjects today that are not considered to be things you normally talk about in the church world. The first is we're going to talk about cryptocurrencies. We're going to talk about the direction things are going, and I want to share with you a little bit of information to get your mind open to understanding that when somebody says cryptocurrency, or when I say cryptocurrency, and I start talking about things like the blockchain, I'm talking about something that is happening out there in such a massive way that it's going to transform the entire world. And if you're not hearing anything about it, there's the potential for you to get blindsided on the road ahead. And I don't want anybody just getting shocked by all of a sudden waking up and going, wait a second, what is that? What happened? I want to be able to provide you information. Like I say, in the horizon training that we do, we're always looking out on the horizon and we're checking to see what's out there and what's going to be coming at us. Is it an opportunity? Is it a threat? Can we use the road in front of us to help prepare ourselves to greet that opportunity or defend against the threat? So that's what we're doing, is we're looking at cryptocurrencies and blockchain technologies out on it. And you might say, Doug, I don't even know anything about that. Don't worry about it. It's on the horizon, still far enough out that we can actually engage in a good conversation about it, and you can prepare by understanding at least the basics. So cryptocurrencies is the first one. The second thing is, oh my gosh, your eyes are going to just you pop out of your head when you hear this. We're going to talk about aliens, or so-called aliens. I cannot believe the number of people that are actually all of a sudden being confronted with the propaganda and the lies and the deceptions out there, that there are some kind of sort of beings that have been created outside of God's creation. And so we've got to touch on the subject because it's dragging a lot of people's attention off in the wrong direction. Now, it's something that's important to look at and to understand, but don't be deceived by the information. So we always commit to providing you with good information. We're going to talk about a source of some good information coming up on that conversation about aliens. Hey, cryptocurrencies, blockchain technologies, aliens. Who would have thought we'd be talking about that on the National Leadership Briefing? All right, so that's the next one. Another thing I want to do is I want to give you a Bill C9 update. You know that you and I we haven't committed ourselves to just drop everything in the world and go running after stopping Bill C9. It is something, though, that's happening out there that we always want to engage in. When I have an opportunity to speak to it and people have questions about it, I want to be able to provide them with good information. So that's what we're going to touch on today, is Stop Bill C9. I'm also going to talk about the recent election of the NDP leader. We have a new party leader that's going to be in the House of Commons here, and that's a gentleman who has been elected at the NDP convention. Want to talk about that briefly. And then finally, I want to talk about some reading material. I'm going to be running through really quickly 6 or 7 books that I'm actively working with now. I'm using as kind of reference materials, and I want to make sure that whenever you and I meet, that if there's an opportunity for you and I to be on the same page, just generally speaking, I'm always going to try to develop those bonds between us. When things come at us, when the wind blows and the noise grows loud, if you and I can have some foundational understandings about who we are, what's the church, what are we supposed to be doing, what should we focus on, if we've kind of gotten all that sewn into us in whatever way we can, I'm always going to encourage you to do that. Now, of course, the Bible is the primary source. That is where you get all your fixed information, the solid information. But there are several books out there that are worthy of review, study, kind of adding to the mix. And I just want to go over those with you today. So again, if you're watching this video and it's just a video segment on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, and you're not actually part of the briefing, look at how much you are going to miss if you're not registered for future briefings. This is the way we do it. 1 hour once a month, we get together, we just hammer on the things that are right in front of us that need our attention. We just screen out all the noise, and you and I spend 1 hour once a month looking each other in the eye and making sure that we're on the same page. And when we see an opportunity where you and I can work together and exercise our influence together to accomplish or advance the things that we believe in into society or culture, politics, or government, we're already in relationship and we kind of on the same page. We're talking about the same things. That's our goal. Ecosystem building, community building, understanding building, confidence building. So thanks so much for being here today. I'm so glad you're here. We better get started though, because man, we got a lot to cover. So let's watch watch this quick video and remind ourselves about the rally points that we come together around to support, the 4 pillars. Let's remind ourselves about those. We'll come right back right after this and get started with the agenda. These are the things that we believe in. First, that parents have the right to raise their children the way they want. Second, that those we elect to serve us in civil government must respect and defend our right of belief and freedom of religion. Number 3, that the laws and policies of civil government must provide for the safety and security of the citizens, especially the vulnerable among us. And number 4, that it is inappropriate to heap debt upon the backs of our children and future generations. They came from you. They're your pillars. They're the things that you believe. Okay, well, let's get to it. All right, last briefing, what did I say? I said you're going to need 3 things on the road ahead, and you remember what they were? First of all, you're going to need a Bible. You're going to need a Bible because in our world of uncertainty here, you're going to need to know what's true. You're going to need to know what is the unchangeable thing. Things are going to be changing all around you. That's why they call it a temporal world. It means subject to change. But you know what isn't going to change? This isn't going to change. And so you're going to need this on the road ahead. You're also going to need to be embedded in a church family. You're going to be embedded tightly into a church family. You're going to work on those love relationships. You're going to care about each other. You're going to build an ecosystem of trust within your church family. And wherever there's weaknesses in those relationships, you're going to work to build them up. You're going to work to repair them if they're damaged. You've got to do that because you got to be part of a herd. Nobody wants to be wandering around out there like the lone wolf right now. This isn't the time in the evolution of our world, as it evolves and moves forward. You do not want to be wandering about out there beyond the light of the campfire, so as to speak. So get yourself your Bible, your own Bible. Get into a church family, and finally, you've got to have subject matter experts in your life that are truly people that care about your eternal well-being. And I stressed that with you last time. I said, you got to make sure they're not just interested in your temporal well-being here on earth while you're here on earth. If they don't have your eternal, forever well-being at heart, then don't use them as subject matter experts, which is why I'm actually here today, is because I really do love you and I want you to return to where you came from, and I want to make sure that you get to live with God and Jesus in heaven for the rest of eternity. And so I'm not going to steer you off base. I'm not going to take you any place that's going to take you away from that as your objective. So this is what brings us here today. Here we are. We're in the world right now. And why am I suggesting all these things to you? Why am I reminding you again about these 3 critically important things that you're going to need on the road ahead? Because check this out. I'm going to share my screen with you. This just amazed me when I saw this. If you can see this, this is the World Uncertainty Index. And I hope you're not watching this on your phone. I hope it's a big enough screen. But you see here, this is an index that measures the amount of uncertainty that there is in the world. And if you take a look at that big spike at the end, that is the highest that it has ever been. That means that with all the tariff tensions and the geopolitical conflicts and the weakening dollars and the threats from the independence of currencies and Donald Trump, if you want to factor him in, the uncertainty is at an all-time high. Now, if you take a look at this spike right beside where we are now, that's COVID. So if you're thinking that, well, wait a second, how high is that? Well, look at how much higher it is than COVID. Now, do you remember how you felt during COVID? Do you remember how you felt in the uncertainty about the world? Like, what is happening to everything around me right now? So I want you to know that, because this is where we're at right now in the world with uncertainty. But do not be discouraged, because you know what? There are things that we are going to be able to count on. Those of us that are in the community of believers, the Christians that we are in relationship with, we're going to watch each other. We're going to help each other. We're going to encourage each other. We're going to be there in tough times for each other. And I don't mean just in the way of some government slogan that says, "Hey man, we're all in this together." You know, remember that was like, that kind of was without any meaning or feeling. What I'm talking about is genuinely caring about each other. And that's why I wanted to bring up this next thing today about the National Prayer Breakfast, the National Leadership Briefing, and another event called the Young Christian Leaders Summit. Once a year, we have an opportunity to come together at together as Christians in Ottawa at the National Prayer Breakfast. And if you've never been to one, I just want to tell you a little bit about what just happened last time, because I want you to join us next time. I want you to be with us while the world is all uncertain out there, and while there's all this noise and chaos about, I want you to take advantage of an opportunity for you and I to gather together in one place at one time and physically be in the same room and have an opportunity to pray for our nation and for our leaders and to grow fellowship. And so this is what I want you to do, is I want you to mark on your calendar for next year. I want you to mark on your calendar April the 26th and 27th. Now, you're probably going to want to be marking the 25th and the 28th off as well. So it'd be about a four-day, April 25th to April 28th. But the prayer breakfast and the national leadership briefing, or dinner, sorry, I always say that because that's what we are. I want you to mark them off, and I want you to join us. Make a plan to be there, and we're going to help you. We're going to show you ways that if you're a young person or a member of a church family and you can't get there and you don't have the finances or whatever, over the year, you and I are going to solve and resolve that issue. So you're going to have enough money to make your plans and be there. So money is not going to get in the way of you joining us, but you got to just be resolved and say, I'm going to be there next year. I'm going to join Doug Sharp, the National Leadership Briefing family, and we're all going to come together. We're going to pray for our nation. We're going to look each other in the eyeball and hug it out in Ottawa. And then we're going to have a chance to meet with leaders in government and do all these other things on the side, which I'm going to be rolling out as we get closer. But today I want you to mark that date. Now, what did we do this last time when we were in Ottawa as far as work goes? Well, one of the things that I committed to do for you was, as I encouraged you to meet with your local members of parliament and your local candidates that want to be members of parliament, and share with them what you felt were your views and values, and tell them that you're non-negotiable. You're not just going to come along in the next election. You're not just going to let them decide what they want to present to you as ideas. You're going to actually promote to them what you want them to actually present as platform planks. Remember when I told you to do all those things? I also committed that I would advance those ideas at the highest levels in government and in politics. So I would meet with the national leaders of the nation, and I would actually present to them the things that we believe here on the National Leadership Briefing. You know, like the 4 pillars that you just saw the video of, that we believe that parents have the right to raise their kids the way they want. We believe that those we elect to serve us in civil government must respect and defend our right of belief and freedom of religion. We believe that protecting the vulnerable is a priority of civil government, and of course, fiscal responsibility. And we don't want a lot of debt heaped on the backs of our children and future generations. So I had the opportunity when I was in Ottawa at the National Prayer Breakfast to join in on a meeting with Pierre Poilievre, the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, and communicate to you, or to them, the message that I committed to share. I'm asking you to share a message locally, and when I have an opportunity to speak at a national level to the national leaders, I committed to do the same. So I'm going to tell you what went down, because I want you to have a clear understanding as to how I communicated and some of the roadblocks and some of the challenges that I had, so that we can all learn from this together. Now, I don't want you to there were some challenges. I don't want you to get all excited about it because I'm not concerned about it. Matter of fact, I thought it was one of the best meetings that I'd ever been at, but I don't want you to get all hyped up and concerned and get upset when I tell you certain parts of the story. Okay? So this is what happened. Is I had been working with an organization, no need for me to mention, by the way, any names of the organizations or the people that were in the room. That's not necessary because it's not relevant to what I'm saying. What we're talking about is communicating the message to government and to governments in waiting about what we believe as Christians. So anyway, I'm working with an organization and I'm an active part of the organization, and I help them to arrange meetings when they're in Ottawa. That's one of the things that we do at Canada Family Action. That's one of the things I do as someone who is activist in this realm of politics and government, is I'm actually helping people arrange connection points so that people can have effective meetings with elected representatives. So my task was to help an organization organize a good meeting with Pierre Poilievre as leader of the Conservative Party of Canada. And we scheduled it to take place right after the National Prayer Breakfast in the morning so that everybody was in the same room. We could just gather together in another smaller room and have our business meeting. Now, the way we set up these meetings, and I'm going to peel back the onion for you a bit because I want you to understand how this works. The way that we set up these meetings so that they're most effective is we operate from kind of a bit of a rule book, and they're unwritten rules, but if you want to have a good meeting and you just have a short amount of time, if you do certain things, I've discovered, especially with politicians, you will have a better meeting. The first thing is I always encourage people to make sure that the questions that you're going to ask a politician or elected representative or a candidate, make sure the questions that you're going to ask, they have ahead of the meeting. Now that gives them an opportunity to receive the questions and perhaps better prepare to give you an answer during the meeting. The last thing you want to do at a meeting when you're dealing with a politician who's got all these people coming at him is you don't want to miss an opportunity to get an answer while you're at a meeting. So we provided all of the questions that we were going to ask as the delegation meeting with Pierre Poilievre. We provided those questions ahead of time. Now, of course, they have an opportunity then to prepare to prepare the answers for those questions, but they also can have confidence that they're not going to get blindsided while at the meeting. Because some people, they want to go into meetings with politicians and they want to do things like those gotcha moments and like, I tricked you up, I something come in from left field, and they want to try to embarrass anybody. We don't do that. We respect the offices that they operate in. We're not playing gotcha politics here. We're trying to get a job done. We're working strategically and tactically, and that doesn't help anybody when you go in there and try and blindside somebody during a meeting. So we gave them the questions ahead of time. Now, you know me, I kind of know this realm. I know how to present a question and present it in a way that is very, very well written. So I'm going to read you the question that I submitted to be a part of this meeting. Here it is. This is my question. Now, it's 1 minute and 41 seconds long, so you got to stay with me. But this is the question that you're basically asking your members of parliament locally and your candidates locally. So I wanted to ask a similar question at this leadership level. So here's the question. I proposed, over the past few years, it has become increasingly difficult for me to reconcile my support for the Conservative Party of Canada with my Christian beliefs. So much so that I have withdrawn my support completely from the party and made the decision to no longer donate money, to volunteer for the party, or to vote for my Conservative member of Parliament. So remember those three things? Remember what I said? I said what we got to do is when we want to begin our negotiation with Conservative members of parliaments and candidates, we want to make it clear that the position from where we are negotiating from is that we are out. We have withdrawn our support, and what that means is we're going to take away our vote, our money, and our volunteer time from them. Okay, remember that? I just want to remind you of that. Okay, now also remember though, we hold on to our Conservative Party of Canada membership card though, because that's the authority that we have within the party to actually advance the things that we believe in and continue the negotiation. So hold on to your party card, but do not vote for, volunteer, or give them money. That's what I told Pierre, or pardon me, that's the question that I proposed to share with Pierre. Now, that may be a surprise to you, I went on to say, as I have been on the CPC team since day one. Over the past 23 years since day one, I have been on so many fiercely loyal campaign teams, raising thousands of dollars, recruiting thousands of party members, and encouraging many more to vote Conservative. However, now I feel myself on the outside looking in, alongside many others like you all out there, who are in the same place I am. And just like me, many of us would love to get back on the team. Now, remember, this is the spirit with which we ask these questions is, hey, I'm not here to say I'm out and grumble and storm out of the office. I'm going, whoa, wait a second. I'm here to negotiate. I'm here to engage in a conversation with you to negotiate for my support. Now, I've withdrawn it, but hey, let's negotiate. What do you got? So the question went on to say, and just like me, many of us would love to get back on the team. We just need to hear from you, Pierre, a commitment to some election platform positions that release us all to, in good conscience, support the election of a Pierre Poilievre-led Conservative government. So my question here today is, again, this is the question that I presented ahead of the meeting as part of the process. My question here today is, will you please meet with your national campaign manager and explore the possibility of including the following platform planks in the Conservative Party of Canada's next national election platform? So I'm not, now understand this, I'm not asking him to commit to me that these are going to be part of the national election platform, because that's an unreasonable request to ask at a meeting. I'm simply asking that Pierre meet with the national campaign manager and explore the possibility of including these as platform planks. Okay, that means promises. That means at election time, we want Pierre to stand up and go, if you elect me, I promise to do this, right? This is what I wanted him to investigate with his campaign manager. First, a commitment to introduce legislation protecting preborn children in the womb. Second, a commitment to call for a pause to medical assistance in dying in Canada until a full review of the damage can be completed. Number three, a commitment to call for a complete ban on radical sex surgeries on gender-confused children. Number four, a commitment to fix or repeal completely Bill C-4, known as the Conversion Therapy Bill. And if you aren't familiar with that, that is a bill that basically has put in place a law that if pastors or parents try to counsel their children in a manner that is contrary to how they perceive their own sexual identity and gender, then they can be fined up to $10,000, I think it is, 105 years in jail. Irrelevant how much the fine is. The fact that it's illegal, it's been made illegal, is the problem. And finally, a commitment to never support or pass legislation that causes harm or death to Canadians. Any consideration you and your campaign team would give to these life and death issues would be appreciated by all of us who have withdrawn our support from the party. Thank you for allowing me to ask this question today. So that is the question that I presented for consideration to be included as part of the meeting. And there was one of 8 questions that were on the list to be asked at the meeting. There were 21 people in the room, but only 8 of us had the ability to engage as people who had questions. And we submitted those to the organizer of the meeting. The meeting submitted those to the assistant, to Pierre, and to the people organizing the meeting for the leader. And we received a note back prior to the meeting, and it was from their office, and they requested that Doug Sharp's question number 7 of 8 would be withdrawn from being asked at the meeting. That is what their request was that question number 7, my question, be withdrawn. Now, I have to admit, it kind of caught me off guard because my initial reaction was, we respectfully deny your request. That was my initial response was, you don't want me to ask that question at this meeting of Christian church leaders in a meeting with the leader, and you're requesting us to withdraw it. Yeah, no, like that was my initial response. Couple things though. First of all, it's not my meeting, right? I was only helping. I'm somebody who serves the church. I serve church leaders and help them organize meetings with politicians. So I am there as a guest of the organizer of the meeting. And so I thought, okay, well, it's not my meeting. So if he's passing this back through me and asking me to withdraw the question, I guess I'm going to do, yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. And I wasn't upset or anything. I was actually, okay, well, that's interesting. Lord, I guess I should pray into what you want me to do. Do you even want me to attend the meeting? If my question's not going to be asked, should I in somehow protest? Should I show up with I actually even thought about this, showing up and go to the whole meeting with like a piece of duct tape over my mouth, like as I make a statement like I've been censored or something like that. But the reality is, at the end of the day, my heart was softened by the Lord. And I so appreciate that. The love that I have for Pierre, the love that I have for all the people in that room. I just wanted to be in the meeting. I said, I'll commit to take notes and be there and pray. And I did. I joined the meeting. I still went to the meeting. Pierre came walking into the meeting. He actually came, usually when Pierre sees me, because I've known him for so long, he'll usually go, Doug, how you doing? How you doing? And what was interesting about it, and this is what I want to share with you, a little inside baseball observations. So it's just like some behind the scenes stuff. Again, without talking out of school, because there's a level of confidentiality in these meetings you always want to maintain. But normally Pierre would go, Doug, I'd just say, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. This time, Pierre came walking around and he's shaking everybody's hands in order as he's coming in. And this time, he looks me in the eye and he puts out his hand and I shake his hand and he goes, hey, Doug, what are you up to these days? And so immediately I got confirmation in my heart, because that may not sound like much to you, but if you've asked a question that is so direct to the degree that it needs to be withdrawn from a meeting, and that's me. I asked a question that was so specific and so succinct and so, you know what? I was swinging for the fence. I asked for it all. And for that to be disqualified, I knew that they needed to, in that moment, factor me into their political calculus. So the question is, hey, Doug, what are you up to these days? That question really is translated out to be, how much do I need to be concerned about you as a center of influence, withdrawing your support from the party so that I can factor that into the political calculus as to whether I need to give you guys anything that you asked for in the question that you were not able to ask. So therefore, in that instant, as he shook my hand and said, what are you up to these days? I went, I'm just doing the same thing I always do, Pierre. I'm mobilizing Christians into this crazy world of politics and government. That's my answer to the question, but put that into your political calculus. Is I'm out there talking to people just like you all the time. I'm doing my best to make my case that we need to really press hard to push these guys to do the right thing at election time and advance Christian principles into policy platform planks at the election. We're tired of shopping off the menu of bad ideas out there on both sides of the political spectrum. We want to drive agenda. We want you to give us something that we can vote for that deals with the life of children in the womb, protecting seniors from euthanasia, and helping to stop radical sex surgeries and predatory practices of crazy people on children. So these are the things that we're doing. And in that moment, I knew I was in the right room. I knew I was in the right room for the right reason. So I'm calling this the power of the unasked question. because we always talk about how dangerous the unanswered question is. But when you are denied, when somebody takes a piece of paper that has a question on it that is so hot in their hands that they can't allow it to be asked at a meeting, it becomes way more powerful when it is denied being asked. And the reason I know that is because I sat down in that room and I watched the whole meeting go by, taking notes, being a good meeting participant, being polite, and I wasn't mad at all, because in the cloud over the meeting was this unasked question. It was a meeting that took place in the shadow of an unasked question. So this is a very positive development, because they have received our message at the highest levels in the party that we are out. We're not voting for you. We're not giving you any money, and we're not volunteering. And we want to see these things as platform promises in the next election, because we want back in. We're not out here shaking the stick yet. We're just out here with a carrot in our hand going, help us, help you, help our nation. That's what we're doing right now. So that was a very positive thing. So I'm bringing that all back to say, mission accomplished. For me to advance that question at the highest levels, I need you to do what you were committed to do, and that's meet with your Conservative members of Parliament, meet with your Conservative candidates, encourage them to do the right things. I'm going to include a copy of my questions in the post notes today. That question that was unasked, it'll be called the unasked question, and you're going to have a copy of it. You can build your own question. You can write your member of Parliament. You can send them an email. You can call them. You can meet with them personally, whatever you want to do. But if we all ask that question that is so dangerous to ask, we will have influence even if it's not answered. Okay? And we did that in Ottawa at the National Prayer Breakfast. So why don't you make sure you mark down those dates, April 25th, 2027 to April 28th, 2027, and come with us next time, because we're going to have a delegation of hundreds, maybe even thousands. Maybe we can put a couple thousand people in that room and have the biggest national leadership briefing meeting ever. Now, last thing I want to talk about with that is, while the National Leadership National Leadership Dinner, sorry if I said briefing along the way, the National Leadership Dinner and the National Prayer Breakfast, while that's going on, there's something called the Young Christian Leaders Summit that is happening. There are 60 spots that you can participate in, you can fill. If you're 19 years of age to 29 years of age, or 28 years of age, and you attend a Christian church, and you're keenly interested in our nation, the well-being of our nation, I want to invite you right now as a delegate from your church. If you've got a church of like 20 kids in a youth group, send 20 of them. This is the most magnificent opportunity, this summit, for young people, that they can actually come and they will get personal attention. They get night tours of Parliament. They get to go meet with senators, ambassadors, all these great thought leaders. They attend the National Prayer Breakfast with us, the National Leadership Dinner with us. They come to the events, but they've got a whole other stream of teaching that includes worship services and things. So what I'm saying to you is that you in your church, if you've got anybody 19 years of age to 28 years of age, you as a church need to help them get there next year. You need to focus on filling every one of those 60 seats. And I'm going to help you, because I'm going to coach you and train you all year long to make sure you guys can get there. This is what I want you to do right now, though. If you have an interest and you can commit and you're resolved and you're ready to say, yes, I'm going to be there, I want you to send me an email to president@familyaction.ca. President at familyaction.ca. I'm going to take your name and I'm going to put it on a list, and I'm going to take the names for the Young Leaders Summit and I'm put it on a separate list. And then as soon as I get the details for registration and all that stuff, we're going to start working the plan to bring everybody together at the National Prayer Breakfast next year and the National Young Leaders Christian Leaders Summit next year. And we are going to have the most amazing series of meetings with national political leaders that you have ever seen take place in the history of this nation. This is going to be the place you're going to want to be next April in Canada, is in the nation's capital. All right, so that's fantastic. Thanks for letting me report on that. I'll keep you posted on how things go with Pierre. If there's any follow-up with the national campaign manager, I had an opportunity to chat with him briefly after the meeting. He's actually an old pal. He's a great guy. I like him a lot. So we've got lots of relationship there. I'll keep you posted on what's happening on the road ahead. Okay, let's take a quick break and come right back. We're really running low on time, so I got to go fast through these next few segments here, but I appreciate your time so far. Back in a flash.
The bear has been poked. It's time to wake up from our slumber
and stand together, united as one. One family, one body, one church.
We will not walk past the vulnerable.
Say nothing, do nothing, and turn a blind eye.
We are citizens of a great nation.
We are good Samaritans to our neighbors. You are not alone.
We are the largest unified voice in Canada. So we stand united. This is our rally cry. We are Christ to our nation. This is our battle cry. He shall have dominion from sea to sea and from the river unto the ends of the earth. Righteousness will reign. Justice will prevail. We are united.
Okay, we're already on the home stretch here, so you are about to witness a miracle. You're going to see me cover so much ground so fast. But again, remember what I said. Even if you're not registered for the to receive the post briefing notes, if you send me an email at president@familyaction.ca, and then you go and register for the next national leadership briefing, I will send you today's post notes. I will actually email them to you even though you're not registered. So don't forget I'm offering that. Okay, first of all, crypto. I want to talk about crypto really quickly here because the entire financial system of the world is transitioning to blockchain technology. And the whole way that money moves around the world is changing to a degree that you can't even imagine. Let me show you just a couple of really quick slides here so that you understand what's happening here. This is the Bank of Canada's webpage talking about a digital Canadian dollar. Now you could say, well, that's just a conversation that's taking place. Well, what happens if the entire global financial system shifts and begins to adopt a digital financial system that requires a digital dollar in Canada? You're going to see a digital dollar here, I can tell you right now, for certain. And look at here, if you take a look at this here, this is the White House and their website. And come on, don't get lit up just because I put up a picture of Donald Trump. You know, this is a reality we're facing. The President of the United States is working with all departments of government to adopt a national crypto strategy. And this is something that they are going to replace their dollar with something called stable coins. Right now, there is a massive battle going on with the United States of America and the globalists and the globalist banking system. So Donald Trump, whatever you think about him, I can tell you right now, he's definitely on the side that isn't the globalist financial system. He is trying to keep the power inside the United States to control what will be the new rails of the global financial system. So I show you that because I just want you to know that whether you know anything about it or not right now, you're going to need to know about it. So what I'm going to include in the post-briefing notes are some very introductory prompts that you can begin asking Google. And you could say, hey, tell me beginners. I'm a beginner. How do I come to understand what blockchain technology is? Or, what do I need to do? What videos can I watch that'll tell me what cryptocurrencies are? So I'm going to give you these prompts. So I'm going to give you this opportunity to introduce yourselves to blockchain technology, it's called, and cryptocurrencies, so you can start, because we're going to start bringing experts in that are going to help you adopt strategies to become aware of what's coming on the horizon. Because remember, we're talking about something on the horizon. I'm giving you the heads up right now. Second thing is that the White House and other governments around the world have begun talking about disclosing what they know about aliens. And so if they're going to start telling us what they think aliens are, we as a church have to understand what we know to be true in the Bible, and we need to look at what they share with us through the lens of what we know to be true in the Bible. Well, I've got a resource that I'm going to share with you in the post-briefing notes today, which is a short summary. It's a summary of an entire book, really, that this gentleman has written. His name is Robbie Cressman, and I'm going to share that with you in the post-briefing notes because it's a Christian worldview perspective about the conversation that's about to take, and I think it's going to dominate for a little while, the news headlines and everything. You're going to see more of it, but I just want you to understand that you need to see things through the Christian worldview lens, and that's a tool that I'm going to share with you today to help you do that. So, and then we're going to have Robbie on, and we're going to do an entire briefing on just that one issue so that you're not fooled into thinking that there's some other creation out there with all these different alien beings from another galaxy that is extraterrestrial or outside of the creation story of God, or that God has for us and defined in the Bible. All right, so don't be fooled in the meantime until you have a chance to see that. All right, next thing I'm going to roll over really quickly here is I'm going to share in the post-briefing notes the Stop C9 webpage that Fatine has put together. Tons of useful information on that website. And what I specifically am sharing this with you today for is because parts of the strategy moving forward involve meeting regionally with your senators. So I want to find out from anybody, if you are living in any part of Canada and you are willing to attend or help volunteer for hosting a regional meeting with senators to bring Christians together to share their views on what they think about the criminalization of parts of the Bible. Well, I would love to hear from you because you are someone that is willing to do the work and you're willing to show up and actually be a part of the meeting. I want to start putting our list together, and I'm going to share that information with Fatine, okay? So do that. Get in touch with me. And in the meantime, look to the post-briefing notes. I'm going to share that link on Bill C9 with you. Next thing I want to tell you about, the most important thing to know about this new NDP leader that has been elected in Canada. His name is Avi. Avi is the guy who really is the guy that you wanted to see elected among that group of people. Now, I know that people have been mocking a lot of the things that they saw at the convention as being crazy. It is. I got to admit, it's really strange to hear people talk like they were talking from the microphones during that convention. But I got to tell you something is that this guy that's the leader of the party now, Avi actually has the skill set to bring that craziness into a package that is a little bit more marketable to a larger bunch of Canadians, which is good because that's going to peel support away from the Liberals, and it's going to sort of even out the left side of the political spectrum. It's going to make, I believe, Mark Carney a little bit more I don't know, relatable and easy to get along. I don't know. I mean, it's certainly never going to be perfect. It looks like they're going to have a majority government anyway, but I'm just saying, it's good for Canada to have the NDP less than completely wrecked like they are right now. I mean, it's good for Canada if they can take a little of the support away from the Liberals and kind of balance things out a bit on the political landscape of Canada. So look to the NDP and pray for obviously the leaders of all parties, but look to the NDP to sort of grab a little bit more support there. And then finally, what I want to do today, and again, how fast was that? I mean, but I'm out of time. I got to keep going. I wanted to share some books with you. And again, I'm just going to show them to you really quickly because they're going to be in the post briefing notes and you're going to have quick links where you can buy these on Amazon. Great book. This book is by Jonathan Van Maren, How We Got Here, a guide to our anti-Christian culture. Everybody I meet, especially from the US right now on the working groups that I'm on, they always ask me the question, what happened to Canada? Like, how did you get from there to here? Well, Jonathan Van Maren does an excellent job in this book of laying out the case for how we got here. Another book I want to share with you, I just got this in Ottawa, and I had a chance to read this before it was produced. It's called Awakening by Michael Sitko. This is a fantastic book that really lays down some foundations as to why it is that the Christian church needs to become more conscious and aware of what's happening around us, especially when it comes to civil government. Another one I got from a good friend of mine from the US actually is this Transforming Nations. And Randall Howard, or I call him Randy, he's a friend of mine. He wrote this short book. Look at how quickly you could read this book. This book here, this is actually, it takes a look at the 5 jurisdictions like family and the church and civil government and the marketplace. And he looks at these different jurisdictions and he gives you the biblical definition of what God intended for each of those. So the church, for example, as a governing assembly of citizens, the ecclesia, he lays that out. And again, really quick read on all of these books. This one here is a real standard for me. We Have a Voice. Rob Parker, he started the National House of Prayer in Canada here, and he wrote this book. And this book is like, you want a quick guide for the things you can do and why you should do the things you should do as a Canadian Christian when it comes to civil government and politics. Great read right there. Of course, Fayteen's If Not Now, Then When. This, I had an opportunity to write the foreword for this book for Fayteen, but this is right off the press. This is hot off the press. So there's a lot of current information in there about this moment in time, this one, moving immediately forward. Good book to have. I'll make sure there's a link there. This one I include because Brant Hansen, this is something that I'm seeing more and more in politics and government, is sometimes Christians take the posture of offense. I'm so offended you would try to pass Bill C-9. This takes away your excuse as a Christian, this book. You have no right as a Christian to take offense in anything because you are supposed to be unoffendable as a Christian. So this is an excellent book. I got smacked around pretty good by this one, and it was great. Good friend of mine, lives not so far from me, Pastor Dave Kalaman, His Church, His Way. Again, God had a plan for his church. Jesus knew exactly the church he was establishing on earth. When he said, on this rock, I will build my church. This is his church, his way. This is a great read, short read, talks about exactly what it is the church is supposed to be doing. Now, there's another one here by a great Canadian, Don Hutchinson. This has been out for a bit, but what a fantastic resource, Church in Society. It says First Century Citizenship Lessons for 21st Century Christians. This should be on every shelf and read by every Canadian. And then finally, this is from somebody who actually, this one kind of surprised me because I just thought it was going to be a great read. But you know what? When I got to chapter 9, I refer to chapter 9 whenever I'm discouraged in this book, because this fellow, Grant Abraham, did such a fantastic job of presenting an image in my head of the Canada that I want to live in, that I actually, if I start feeling a little bit down, I go, wait a second, there's other people out there that share the same vision of our country. And Grant's chapter 9, chapter 7 is pretty good too, but it's all good. But anyway, chapter 9, just pick up the book for that chapter alone and then be amazed by that and then read the rest because it's also good. Anyway, so those are the books that I went through that fast, but I wanted you to know, if I'm thinking to myself, look, we got to be on the same page. We got to be thinking the same way. We got to be working together. We don't want to get sort of all bumping into each other, having different ideas. We want some uniformity in our tactics and our strategies. Best way to do that is for us to read the same things, to get into the Word together, to all be embedded inside of a church family, to be listening to subject matter experts that care about our eternal well-being. These are the things that we need to be doing right now. And so I share that with you now, and I respectfully submit that as worthy of your time to read those books. All right, so we are out of time. I've actually taken it right to the limit today. Thank you so much for your attention. I appreciate so much the time that you've taken in joining us today. I will be back next month, but in the meantime, I want you to know that I'm going to be praying for you. I'm going to be praying for your family, and I'm going to continue to pray for this great nation of Canada. Bye for now.